So it's taking us into the tractor factory. Combine harvester. And actually, no, you can come past this. I thought this was actually the entrance. I've had this Calimoto app now for a couple of years, and you know, when you get bored, you fancy getting on a bike just for an hour, you can pick a circular route. And I've been doing it for 2 years, and it's always different. And there's some fantastic roads around here, so you don't have to go far. You know, I do want to do these larger adventures, but it's good to just get out. So I lived here, I've lived in this area over 5 years now, and I'm still amazed with some of the roads that I've not been down, and I've done some miles. It's definitely worth the money. It's not sponsored, by the way. I did have a Suzuki GSX 1250 FA, and it was a good bike, very fast, lots of torque. But on these country lanes, you know, they're all, the tarmac's not great anyway, but it is really torn up, and it was just after an hour my back killing me. And it's so heavy if you wanted to stop or negotiate these narrow gravelly roads. It was a bit sketchy, and I wanted something smaller, something more manageable. And yeah, I've got this Suzuki V-Strom 650, and I think it's a sweet spot. You know, it's not the fastest thing in the world. I've had a lot of bigger bikes over the years, but you know, I enjoy riding this more. It's more manageable. It's not slow, it's not fast, but it's got enough there. Even fully loaded, I've got pannier boxes, 3 boxes, going camping with all the camping gear. You can feel the weight, but it's capable, you know, it's more than capable, and it will do 70 to the gallon. My GSF, you're lucky if you get 40 out of that. And even 2 up, you know, I take May comes with me sometimes, and it's enough, you know, it's got enough power. Another thing about this bike is it's got quite good range on the tank. I think it's got to be 25 litres, something like that, the tank. And from full you'll get 300 miles. Probably a bit less with 2 of you, obviously. It's the best range I've had out of all of my bikes. I might do another video. I might take a jerry can full of fuel in a box and fill it up right to the brim and just run it until it conks out, and just see how many miles you can get. Be interesting, because I do notice, I've noticed once before, I'll let it get low to the last digit where it flashes and then a fuel light comes on, but it wasn't far after that happened that it will start to splutter. So I'm not sure how much distance you can get on the last digit of fuel, so it would be good to test that out. Look at this, lovely. For any of you that's not in the UK, these roads, these B roads, way roads or whatever it is, they're actually 60 mile an hour. So both ways. So you wouldn't fit two cars without stopping down this road. I wouldn't want to meet another car coming 60 mile an hour the other way. Especially now in the summer, or getting on for the summer. These all these weeds and grass grows, and you lose sight around the corners sometimes, so just you have to be a bit more careful. Hope you can hear me alright. It's a new mic, new setup, just testing it out. Nice. Affleck Arms. What about Ben Affleck? Newmarket, 5 miles. Look at that, that's lovely. There's a windmill there. I think Suffolk roads, or Suffolk in general, is probably prefer riding in Suffolk just for the views. It's ever so slightly undulating, whereas Norfolk's dead flat. You don't get many views in Norfolk. Norfolk coast is nice. Go up to Hunstanton and then just stay on the coast. Go on to Wells next to sea. There's a nice coffee and pizza place, and then you can carry on. There's lots of small villages on the way to Cromer. And sometimes I'll do a big loop, come back through Diss, Thetford. Just so many little villages. That's lovely, that. Another closed pub, the Crown Inn. I see just as many closed pubs as open now, especially in these villages. They sort of rely on the locals, but when people just ain't got the money anymore, especially when a pint's what, £6. Well, these roads are shocking. Lovely evening. Don't know why he thanked me, he's right away. Another thing about this bike, it's got adjustable preload, but it's got a knob on the side so you can do it on the fly. And it's quite useful when, especially when you've got a pillion. You know, if I've got all the gear and May, you can just up the preload. God, that sneaked up on me. More than enough. I think we're in Newmarket now. There's horses over there. Mad during the day. If you've never been to Newmarket, they exercise the horses alongside the road, and they just cross the road and you have to stop, you know, like well, it's just hundreds of horses with their trainers or trainer jockeys or whatever. And they're walking alongside the cars. And you do get a lot of rubberneckers. You know, I bet there's a few bumps along there, along Newmarket High Street, where people were staring at the horses and forget they're stuck in traffic. And they're crawling along, person stops in front, whack. Not ideal if you're on a bike. What's that say? Stitchworth House. Another good thing about this bike is the clutch. When you lift off slightly, it lifts the revs. It just makes pulling away a lot easier. It's hard to stall. It's you don't notice it after a while, but it's yeah, it's a good little touch. If you're creeping forward, you don't even have to give it any throttle. Just slowly lift the clutch and it will up the revs. Just 200 revs or something like that. Stuck in gear then. I won't talk about the clutch anymore. Newmarket statue. One thing I did add on this bike is Oxford heated grips. I'm not sure if it's an option to spec these with heated grips or not. This one didn't have it. Every bike I've had has had heated grips. They're a bit of a game changer if you get caught out in the cold, or if you have wet hands. It makes a lot of difference. I don't think they're overly expensive, probably 50 quid, something like that. And if you're slightly mechanically minded, you should be able to fit them. They're not too difficult. It amazes me when I see people that haven't got them, to be fair. I know obviously retro bikes, people like to keep them as original as possible, but they're a good addition. I wouldn't mind having cruise control. It doesn't have cruise control. I've never had cruise control. I know sometimes when you're sitting on a motorway it's nice to just give you wrist arrest. do use it on my car. A water tower there. Something else I might add to this bike is Scotch oiler. I had one on my last bike and it's just saves you from having to grease a chain. I've got a can of grease in the box and I do momentarily give it a spray. But with the Scotch oiler, you know, the reservoir sits under the seat, and then you just run a pipe down to the chain, and then when you turn the engine on, or sorry, you use the vacuum of the engine to open a valve on the Scotch oiler, and then it just drips. You can set the drip to however quickly you want it, and it just slowly drips onto the chain, and then the momentum of the chain moves the oil around on the sprocket and the chain, and it just saves you from having to, because I forget, you know, sometimes you just forget, and if you let the chain run dry, it will prematurely wear out. And also, if you're doing a lot of distance, you know, if you're hundreds and hundreds of miles and you've got to carry a big tin of oil in your box, so you're losing space that you could have other things, so it sort of saves a bit of space, or it does save space. That's thatched roofs. Suffolk, I think per square mile, Suffolk must have the most thatched roofs in the world. And churches. I love these old churches. Busy pub. What's that? Pocock. Pocock. Oh right, it's a estate agent. Pocock and Shaw. The dog's having a poo, love. I might pull over for a wet me whistle. Lay-by there on the side of the road. See if I can find one on this side. I think this was a 80-mile circular, and we've got 24 miles left. But I don't feel like I've been out that long. It's been really nice. It's been a really good circular. That's the thing, when it's twisty country lanes, you know, the time just disappears. You don't realise. Stop here. Sort of stuff out. It's a good job I stopped. My phone weren't charging, it was right on 20%. I wouldn't mind getting one of them quad lock auto charger Dewberry Watsits. They just sort of seem quite expensive. Are they even any good? Comment below. Tell me if you've got one, if they're any good or not. I just got a cheap one off of Amazon, cheap phone holder and a bracket, so that it's just right there and I can see it. I think the bracket was about 15 quid, something like that, but you can bolt multiple things onto it. And then the phone holder, Chinese one, was about £5, and the case was a cheap one off Amazon for about a tenner, I think. Because that's the thing, you have to get a special case as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you do. You think you have to get a special case, otherwise it won't charge. Ely, Newmarket. Car boot traffic. A bit late for car boot sale. It's Saturday. Been and gone. Almost. No. I do love these little villages. Never been one for the city. Too busy for me. Didn't mind it when I was younger, but whenever we go now, it's just anxiety inducing. If I knew you were going to be that slow, I would have gone. Look at that house. Dog in the back staring at me. Oh no, he's turned around there. That being said, about mounting my phone where it is, I don't know whether it's going to impede the view from this camera. I'll look back at the footage. I might have to move it down, we'll see. Another nice church. We're sort of on the edge of the fens now. There's good views, it feels really spacious when you're driving along, see for miles. But these roads are terrible, constantly moving, because the ground's soft. There's a lot of tractors and lorries that go along and they just break up. You know, it looks like they've recently resurfaced this one, but give this a couple of years and it'll all start breaking up and they'll do it again. It's just constant. Yeah, this you really have to stand up. You don't really know when it's coming, so you really have to keep your wits about you. And this whole area is actually below sea level. I'll do a video on it another day, but it was humans that made this farmland, otherwise it would just be, well, underwater. This is another reason why I like this bike, because the suspension's soft and it could just manage it, it just does it well. Sort of on and off road bike, isn't it really? It's more road biased, but it can handle the dirt if you have to, but the suspension's soft and the wheels are spoked. So whereas cast wheel can crack, spokes a bit more forgiving, but they're not tubed. Normally with a spoke alloy or a spoke wheel you have a tube, like an inner tube, but the way that these are designed, you've got the rim and then you've got sort of like an upstand in the rim, and then the spoke are attached to the upstand rather than going through the rim. Therefore you can have tubeless tyres, which is, I think, is better, because if you're doing long distance travelling in the middle of nowhere and you get a puncture, you can repair it with a kit while the wheel's still on the bike, rather than having to take the wheel off, change the tube or fix the puncture. I think I'd rather do it that way. But then if you really have to, you can put a tube in it anyway, I'd assume. Another thing with these fen roads, when it's windy, you really you know about it, because it's, well, you can see for miles, so there's just nothing to stop the wind. This road's breaking up, look, it's massive craters. Whee! Look at that one. Jump. Yeah, my old sports tourer, rattling your fittings out along here. That's another thing there. The road is normally next to a ditch like it is now. There's nothing stopping you. If you're not paying attention, you'll end up in that ditch. There's no barrier or anything. It's quite a long drop as well. I've seen many cars in there over the years. I like these old telephone boxes. That one looked empty, but a lot of villages now, they use them as sort of book swaps, or even they put sort of not pacemakers, like heart, is it a defibrillator? Oh, these roads are, yeah, they've just redone this. This was really bad. Look at that. See, it's not even a very windy day, but I can really feel that wind coming across. It's just so much better when the sun's out. I was watching On the Road. There's a couple go around on their bikes, and I see it was a sponsored tour of Malaga. I think they went, it was a 3-day tour past Almeria, something along them lines. Just looked really good, wouldn't mind doing it myself. It's probably one of my favourite places down that way. I was there about 18 months back on a smaller bike, my other, Range Rover, nice colour that. Yeah, on my little 250 V-twin scrambler type bike that I carry on the back of my camper van, and we went up into the mountains. It was fantastic. It was just a bit uncomfortable because there was, me and May were on the bike. It's not really made for 2 people, so I said we should go back on a proper size bike and just go round the mountains and spend a good amount of time up there, and that sort of fits the bill. So maybe I'll video that one as well. So I'm not all that far away from home now, so I think I'll sign off here. I just thought I'd come out and test this camera and microphone out, see if you could hear me properly. I'm probably going to do a few more bigger adventures this year and do a few camping trips. Maybe bring May along for a couple if we can get the dog looked after, and hopefully I'll bring you guys along with me as well, and you can see what I see. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.